Hey guys, welcome back to Team Path Peaks YouTube channel. It's your boy Kuma Kuma here. Nice to see you guys again. And if you're new here, always great to see a new face and welcome to the channel. Pokemon Go, the set for Pokemon TCG is dropping in about 45 days depending on where you are, and it's going to be a fun set. It is more of a collector set than a gamer set because there's cards such as Mewtwo and Dragonite that collectors love. There's different versions of Charizard available. There's one where he's like flying through the city. There's the Radiant version, and also there's Radiance for Blastoise and Venusaur. So it's really cool that all these stuff is available, and as I said, it is a collector's set. But for us gamers, there's a couple of cards here and there that you might see, and it might be meta breaking or just absolutely meme happening. So we don't know until we've actually tried it, but I've been scourging through the internet and I found a couple of decks here and there, and even built one myself because I thought it would be fun. So let's go ahead and check out these decks. And if you've done so already, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notification, follow us on our other social medias, Instagram and Twitter, and as well as 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/TeamPathPeak. We have our team talks and giveaways if you like free stuff. That's the good stuff. So just for clarification, I am using the official Japanese Pokemon TCG website's deck builder because it allows you to put Pokemon Go cards into your deck list with visual representation, and that is a really good way for me to portray these sets to you guys without it just being text. And if you have any questions because you don't know what the card does, you can't read it, or you're not familiar with the card, go ahead and comment below. I will do my best to reply to you guys immediately, or somebody else might. So let's check them out. So the first deck we're going to look at is the deck of the poster child of the Pokemon Go TCG set, and that is Mew2. So Mew2 Vstar, Mew2 V, there's going to be lots of variants a lot of collectors are going to be looking for, but for us gamers, you know, the basic one is good, even though the alt art Mewtwo in New York is a slapping good looking card. Okay, so with that being said, this is a deck list that was put together by one player in Japan, and he actually built it and actually brought it to a kind of like a for fun tournament, and it had proxies and stuff like that. They were allowed to do proxies. It was just because it wasn't official, it was just for fun. But he had great success with this deck, and he actually, when it was allowed to be posted, he posted it, and this is something that he did. So it is exactly like most Shadow Rider decks. If you look at it, it's just basically feeding energy into whichever Pokemon you need to be fed, and then dealing a lot of damage. The only difference here is that Mew2 Vstar has a job here that's very important. So if you're playing against a lot of Pokemon Vs, like V-Stars, V Union, just Vs in general, V Max, you can use its V-Star attack, which is Star Raid, which does 120 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon Vs, and it's not affected by weakness or resistance. So the job of Mew2 V-Star is to make sure your opponent has established a board and then soften them up with a massive Star Raid blast. So if your opponent is using Crobat, Luminion, or any other V Pokemons to set himself up, just by playing Star Raid, you are ahead by putting damage in, and you're just basically trying to feed off the ability of being able to bosses them out, escape rope them in, or like whatever you need to do just to deal the last bit of damage. And we all know Shadow Rider Calyrax hits like a brick. So you have lots of tech stuff such as the Galarian Articuno, you have the Mew, you have the Diancie to be able to say nope, I'm trying to set up. So all these stuff is great and really proficient. So that's how this deck is played. Hopefully you guys will try it out. I will maybe build it. It looks like a fun deck. I've seen a lot of different versions. One of our Discord members actually was able to put one together that actually looked really cool. He was running Cresselia because that's juice, and it's really cool. So hopefully you guys like this list. This is the Mew2 Vstar list for the Pokemon Go TCG set. The next deck we're going to look at is the Origin Form Dialga Vstar deck, a deck that's already being played in the meta and is considered tier A, A-, doesn't matter where you're looking at it. It's a very good deck. Now, there are two versions of the deck that have been shown to us. There's the slow version, and then there's the turbo version. The turbo version, of course, being more popular. It was talked about in the interwebs about being in turn 2, being able to use its V-Star power, and it's just such a strong deck if it can do that, right? So, with the introduction of Blastoise, its ability Vitality Spring, once during your turn you may search your deck for up to 6 energy cards and attach them to your Pokemons any way you'd like. That's pretty obvious what you do with this deck. So, you can actually set yourself up really well. That's what the Ansies are for. Just make sure you're ready to go. You can Irida into Blastoise with Rare Candy if you have Squirtle on the bench already. You can actually just go ahead and throw away energies with Radiant Greninja because you can just Metal Toss them back in, and you have Training Court as well just to cycle them through. So there is a bit of a draw. Your draw engines are really short here, but it's really quick once you do get them because the setup is really short. As long as the pieces come in, the setup is short. It's basically use Vitality Spring, Dialga Vstars on. That's basically what it is. So this deck I will be building because I think I have a Palkia deck, but I do want to build a Dialga deck. So this might be the one for me because I love the idea of just really dominantly at turn 2 being like, I'm ready, let's go. And then Diancie's out there and my opponent can't bosses, they have to go away with the escape rope. And if I have another Diancie on the bench, I'm just going to swap the Diancie. So the only thing that's going to really push me out would be if somebody was running Umbreon VMAX or Cross Switcher. So this is a cool deck to try. I think it's viable in the meta, my honest opinion. People might say it's one turn too slow, but with Diancie, I think you can buy time because you'll be able to get your time back with the Vstar power. So the next thing we're going to look at is the Dragonite Vstar. For those fans of Mysteries at the Lighthouse, which aired in 1997, shows my age, this is a fun deck because we get to use Dragonite in the meta. So it is not really a top tier deck because it's not very consistent. It's quite fidgety, but once you can get it to work, you have a Dragonite that's max for a very high number. The reason why you want Dragonite with Arceus is because they can counter support each other. If you can't feed out the energy, there's ways for Dragonite to do it. And also, if Dragonite doesn't have enough energy, you have Arceus to be able to dish out the last energies needed by Dragonite. And there's a lot of back and forth. Actually, right, his attack ultimate impact is 250, which is the exact same hit as Calyrex Ice Rider. And if you put Choice Belt and Halucha out and you're against VMAXs, you can actually hit most of them, especially Mew, because Mew's at 310. Yeah, so this is going to be one of those fun decks to try. I don't know if a lot of people will be building into it. As I said, it is fidgety. Lots of people don't like fidgety, but if you're a Dragonite fan, do it. This is so good. So the next deck we're going to look at is an absolute meme deck. Why? Because no one talks about Galarian Stunfisk V. So Galarian Stunfisk V, as I said, nobody talks about it because there's no reason to talk about it. Doesn't really do anything. But with this set, you might be able to meme out hard, and it would be hilarious to see how your opponents will handle it. Of course, there's always that one card that ruins this, but we don't talk about that yet. So Galarian Stunfisk V, if you don't know already, let's break it down. It's a basic Pokemon, 200 HP, has an ability called Metal Skin, where this Pokemon gets plus 20 HP for each metal energy attached to it, and then has an attack that needs 2 colorless energy, called Trapping Bite, that does 60 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if it is knocked out, put 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So that is its shtick. And it's not really impressive, but thanks to Blastoise's Vitality Spring, you can auto feed 6 metal energies onto Galarian Stunfisk, giving him another plus 120 HP. That puts him up at 320 HP for a basic V Pokemon. And then if you give it Cape, it's 370, and then you can keep feeding it energy, if you want. The attack itself isn't that great, because you're just waiting for them to counter, and that's cool. That's a thing that happens. Now let's introduce Weirdeer V. If Weirdeer V, its ability called Frontier Road, if it's in the bench and you switch it to become active, you can feed as much energy as you want from your other Pokemon to Weirdeer when it moves, and its attack, Psy Shield Bash, does 40 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So you guys do the math. you can actually hit ridiculous numbers with this deck. And it's just a matter of you just kind of fishing things back in and out to be able to do things, the anti to stall, and just having a blast. So yeah, and the Irida Blastoise Rare Candy combo does exist in this deck too. So this is literally a meme deck first. So remember, take this with a grain of salt or sugar because it is a meme deck, and just enjoy it. I'm probably gonna play this online for the who's and ha's, because the last deck we're gonna talk about is Alolan Raticate. Okay, so this deck is literally another one of those meme decks, but if it goes off, man, is it a blast. The deck itself is very simple. You actually do see the Zoroark, so you're trying to understand what you're trying to do. You're actually trying to keep getting that Alolan Raticate back in and setting it up so that it has 3 energy for it to do its Super Fang attack. So the Super Fang attack is the fun part in this deck. So you actually put damage counters into your opponent's active opponent until it only has 10 HP left. So after that attack, your opponent can do whatever. It can knock out the Alolan Raticate, but then all you have to do is fetch out Zigzagoon, and you get the knockout. And even during the knockout, it's still your turn. So it's one of those things, right? And you can actually multi-setup. Let's say your opponent knocked out the Alolan Raticate after it was able to attack, so it's got 10 HP left, and he switches it out, and then you just put another Raticate out. You do the same thing, so they're down to 10 HP. So there's 2 Pokemons there that 10 HP left. If you have a 1 Galarian Zigzagoon and 1 Scoop Up Net, you get double knockouts in 1 turn, and it's still your turn. So this is going to be one of those decks. I don't have to go really deep into this because it is a meme deck, but yes, just digest this. And I know Alan will not like this deck because there's a Liepard here, but it's going to be a fun deck to see and play, just to watch people go, oh wow, like that, you know, because it's really annoying if that's all it takes to knock out big HP Pokemons. Imagine Eternatus VMAX done in by this, right? It's a meme deck. Enjoy this. I might build it in actuality and then kind of try to see if there's any way to make it even better. But this is the one that I built, the one that I said that I was able to build one, and this is the one that I think that is a bit goofy and a bit fun. So I hope you guys will try this one out, even online. Try it online. Don't waste too much money. Try this online and then enjoy it. All right, guys. And those are the decks that I was able to scrounger up and put aside. And you saw the one that I created, which is the Alolan Raticate deck. And hopefully you guys will try them out. And as I said before, we have access to the online versions of this. So just try them online first before you end up buying cards. We are in this age where this is a thing. Back in the day, yeah, there was no such thing. We actually had to build it and in physicality, try it out. And if we didn't like it, then we just start from zero and then do it again. But we have this ability to do this online. So once the Pokemon Go set comes out, I'm actually going to be doing a lot of codes in. We might do some digital pack openings because it's not better than actual pack openings, but it's fun nonetheless. And then we can build the decks and then we can go from there. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for coming in. It's always a blast to be able to talk to you guys about Pokemon TCG. Let's continue to make the community of Pokemon TCG great and always be awesome. And remember, always dream big and always aim for the peaks. Have a good one, guys. Take care and see you next time.